All right, let's dive into a classic tale about wit, greed, and a very, very explosive misunderstanding. Like a lot of great stories, this one kicks off with a kingdom facing a huge problem. The royal treasury is completely, totally bone dry. So at the center of it all, you've got the king of Krishnagar. Now, he's not worried about dragons or anything like that. His problem is much more down to earth. There's literally no money left. And this one little problem is about to trigger a whole chain of events that will put the loyalty of his entire court to the test. So, with the kingdom basically broke, you'd think the royal court would be buzzing with brilliant ideas, right? Well, not exactly. What we get instead is a classic showdown. A really worried king versus his incredibly overconfident minister. And wow, the difference between these two is night and day. On one side, you have the king, who is genuinely concerned and knows to value the sharp mind of his court jester, Gopal. But on the other side, you've got his minister, Bhagwan, who just scoffs at the problem, brags that he can solve anything, and clearly sees Gopal as a rival. I mean, his ego is so big, he actually threatens revenge for being called a rotten potato. So the king gives him the green light to fix things. And what's the minister's first move? He doesn't come up with some clever economic plan. Nope. He takes the most direct and most damaging path possible, and he throws the entire problem right onto the backs of the kingdom's farmers. The minister's so-called brilliant idea to fill the treasury, just double the taxes on the next harvest. That's it. He makes this big public announcement, basically telling all the farmers, hey, the king needs cash, so you're going to have to pay twice as much. Figure it out. There's no support, no plan B, just a cold, hard demand. And this is where things really start to get heated. The farmers, who are already struggling, they beg for just a little more time. They know this new tax will absolutely ruin them. But the minister? He's completely unmoved. His response is just ice cold and final. No tax can be left unpaid. It's their problem, not his. Just when the farmers are at their lowest point, what looks like a glimmer of hope shows up. Some foreign merchants arrive, and they're selling what they claim is a miracle product, something that'll solve everything. But as you can probably guess, this solution is actually the beginning of a much bigger, much more dangerous deception. I mean, we all know what fertilizer is supposed to do, right? You put it on the soil, you get a bigger, healthier crop. For these farmers who are absolutely desperate, this new stuff seems like the only way out, the only way they can possibly pay that impossible new tax. But you gotta wonder, was this miracle powder from these mysterious merchants really going to save their harvest? Or was something else entirely going on behind the scenes? So, feeling both desperate and hopeful, the farmers buy up all this new product and spread it all over their fields. They're waiting for the miracle, but what they get is an absolute, undeniable catastrophe. The result is just devastating. This so-called fertilizer wasn't just useless, it was like poison for the land. Not only did their crops wither and die, but even the wild grass just dried up and turned to dust. Their fields were left completely barren, just a total wasteland. Facing total ruin, with no crops and no way to pay any taxes at all, the farmers see only one option left. They've got to go straight to the top. They band together and march right to the royal court to tell the king exactly what happened. Okay, this is where the story takes a huge, dramatic turn. The king hears the farmers out, and Gopal, who's been watching all of this, has a hunch that something is deeply, deeply wrong here. He suggests that this isn't just some bad fertilizer. This needs a real expert investigation. The king trusts Gopal's instincts, so he agrees and summons the royal scientist. They bring in a sample of the stuff for analysis, and suddenly, the whole problem shifts from farming to a full-blown scientific mystery. What is this stuff? The scientist starts his work, and right away, he's just shocked. He's not talking about nutrients or soil pH. No, he warns the whole court that what he's holding isn't just bad for plants, it's dangerous. It is highly, highly flammable. And then, after a quick test, the scientist delivers the final, shocking verdict. The substance that was sold to the farmers as a life-giving fertilizer is actually gunpowder. Wow, so the entire kingdom has been tricked on a massive scale. And now, with the truth finally out, it's Gopal's time to shine.
He puts together this brilliant plan, not just to catch the merchants, but to expose the real mastermind behind this whole rotten scheme.
Gopal's plan is just beautiful in its simplicity. He totally plays on the merchants' greed, pretending he's a buyer who can move their entire stock. They fall for it hook, line, and sinker, and eagerly lead him right to their hidden stash, a whole ship packed with gunpowder. And then, with the king and his guards watching, bam, the trap is sprung. The merchants, completely cornered, immediately start talking, pointing the finger straight at the man who cooked up the whole idea, Minister Bhagwan.
And just like that, the whole conspiracy comes tumbling out. This wasn't just a scam to make money, it was treason, an act designed to ruin the kingdom, and it was orchestrated by the king's own minister. The king is, of course, absolutely furious. He orders their arrest, but he gives them one single chance to make things right. Replace every last bag of gunpowder with real fertilizer.
And this all leads us to the king's big realization. He sees with perfect clarity that the true protector of his kingdom wasn't the arrogant minister, but the clever, loyal court jester. His praise for Gopal really sums up the whole story's lesson about where a nation's true strength really comes from.
So this entire story kicked off with a simple worry about an empty treasury, but it ended up uncovering a much, much deeper threat. And it leaves us with a really interesting question to think about. What's the true wealth of a kingdom? Is it the gold sitting in its vaults, or is it the wisdom sitting in its court?